Hello, everyone, and welcome to another live stream, the second live stream from the Vermouth Society, which is, if you don't already know, if you're not already a member, the brand new Vermouth-based education and engagement program from Campari Academy Global. Today, we have Giorgio Bargiani, a total legend, a powerhouse in our industry, who in 2023 won International Bartender of the Year. I don't want to get that wrong.
No.
It's international,
that's
right?
correct.
Yeah,
It's
International Bartender of the Year. So right now, I, as a geek of bartending, have the International Bartender of the Year at my house, talking about vermouth. You can't beat that. That's a huge win. And today, as well as being the International Bartender of the Year 2023. You're also the global brand advocate of 1757 Vermouth di Torino, right?
And only 5 days a week, I work as the assistant director of mixology at the Connaught Bar.
Oh yeah, you have that other job in that place, yeah. Where you make martinis, a lot of martinis.
Martini cocktails,
Yeah.
a lot.
Like, very famous.
And don't forget the smile.
Don't forget the smile. And can I ask a question about that? Do you guys wear just like a green screen under your shirts at all times? Is that
No.
No?
It's all real. It's like
It's
Superman.
real? Okay, so today we're going to be looking at Vermouth di Torino. Yesterday we had a look at vermouth from the perspective Leonardo Lauci. Lauci, I get it wrong every time. And he was talking about the deep history that vermouth has, going back thousands of years. Today, we're not going to be looking so much at the history of vermouth and where it come from. We're going to look more through a contemporary mixology lens. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And what better person to take us through a contemporary mixology lens of vermouth than one of vermouth's biggest advocates and someone who is right now nailing it at contemporary mixology.
Trying.
Yeah. Also humble, very humble. Cool. So what have you got for us today?
An Italian story. An Italian story that then traveled the world. A bit like me, a bit like 1757 Vermouth di Torino, as well as, the revolutionary story of a small bottega, small shop. Dean, by the way, I'm going to say a lot of Italian words.
Oh, that's
if you
okay.
don't understand, we have the incredible production made by Laura Grassolini and Elisabetta Dusi. They can translate whatever you don't understand.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. There's a lot of English words I don't understand, but I just pretend to understand.
Super.
It's all right.
But so anyway, I can very humbly say that I'm a storyteller. I'm a person that talk a lot. And so I'm always very much fascinated about things or places or people or product, especially related to today. They have strong and exciting history behind, big heritage.
Yeah. They've got. You can look back at the story and understand where they've come from, right?
Yeah, but knowing certain story, you become even more interesting as a person because when you talk about something, there is always an extra layer that you can add to the conversation and something that you can bring it to the table.
Yeah, so knowing the story gives you both the perspective of what it is and an understanding of what the product is, but also it gives you a tool that you can use to kind of bring your guests on board.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you're all about hosting.
Very much.
Yeah,
very much.
It's a huge part of your personality.
And make people laughing and smiling and create a memory. And I probably started from a very small city. I did start from a very small city, my city Pisa in Tuscany. But I then, luckily or by coincidence, moved to London. And from London, I'm today very much grateful to be part of a global community. And when we look at vermouth as a category itself, but for example, the Cinzano Bottega, the Cinzano house that started in 1757.
Was it brothers that started?
Yeah, there were two brothers. Yeah. And a revolution starts always from something small. A revolution doesn't start with something big. It's an idea, a seed that eventually grows, evolves, and becomes
it's
a
organic
phenomenon. Correct. And that's why I think I have a lot in common personally with the Cinzano brother, and that's why probably I love very much 1757 as well as the old category. You know, they were experimenting in a small bottega. I'm not gonna go
They were
too
they were
much
they were
into histories.
mastering their craft in a small
Yeah.
environment without too much attention, and then they
And
expanded.
but probably they were putting a lot of love and passion, and eventually, you know, the market from being only Italy became the world. Somehow, you know, I'm a bartender experimenting to a small bar at the end.
Yeah.
But I managed to travel the world and talk about what I do in all angles of the planet. So sometimes to aim big, you need to start very small.
Yeah.
And once eventually when you get big, you need to evolve yourself. Not necessarily do a revolution again, but just looking again what you do and improve it or tweak it a bit. And that's how I see revolution versus evolution. You start in something, and then when you get to a certain level that is globally recognized, you move on to
Yeah, so you've start something, you stick to your passion, you stick to your guns, you stick to your truths, but then when you get to some level of success, you need to keep evolving to stay.
Correct.
Otherwise, if you stay still, you're going backwards, right?
and yeah,
That's
and
that's an old saying, I guess.
I think I have a great example for that. Like Cinzano, as a brand, as a house, as we said, is not new. No, it didn't start last week or last year. But thanks to people along the history of this brand, today is still extremely relevant. And I know a person, I know a man, a true gentleman. His name is Bruno Valavasi.
Okay.
He's the gentleman that makes Campari, that makes Averna, that makes Cynar, that makes Braulio, that makes Aperol. You know,
Is he like, followed around by like some Secret Service type agents to make sure he's got his? He knows the recipes for all of these
it's
things.
a kind man. He
Yeah?
knows so many recipes. Who is one of the probably 2-3 men in the world knowing all these recipes. And what impressed me when I met him, he say hello to everyone. Everyone that,
Yeah.
crosses street, crosses path, he say hello.
He's still humble.
He's still very humble.
Yeah.
And with this heart, with this mindset, he a few years ago wanted to create his taken on the traditional and original recipe of Cinzano Rosso and extra dry.
And he'd been working on Cinzano for some time
For
at that
many
point?
years, for over
Okay.
20 years. And actually now he's in charge of so many brands, but Bruno, when he started, he was working on Cinzano.
Okay, so he started with Cinzano Vermouth and then demonstrated his skills, and over the time that he's been with the
Yeah.
company, he started to grow more.
And taking care of all the brands.
Amazing. So it's kind of like going back to
Yeah.
his roots again.
And again, is revolution. You join something new. You embark a new project, a new journey. But eventually, after many years, when you're mastering your craft and you become very well recognized for what you do, you have the opportunity to evolve.
Yeah.
What you've been doing.
It gives
for
you
many
new
years.
opportunities.
And that's how probably 1757 was born, and how in general Vermouth stand the test of time as a liquid.
So with 1757, what take did he want to bring to it? He wanted to go kind of new, but stick to the old roots, or did he want to change things altogether?
I think it's something midway. He wants very much to respect the tradition, and to never go very far from it, while doing something that will fit the modern mixology. Either for classics, when you do a Negroni or Americano, or the aperitivos, they're more traditional, but also giving bartenders a tool to create something new.
Yeah. So, but would you say he's used crazy new ingredients? He's not like
No, it's not the style, and sometimes crazy new ingredients are not necessary to create something new.
it's more for hype, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very much more for people that want to discover, but when you are very solid on who you are and what you do, you know that with what you have, you can create always something new.
Okay. Very cool. So what would you say are the big significant things that make 1757 as opposed to the original Cinzano?
It's mainly the way Bruno used the original spices, botanicals.
Yeah.
The ratio and the way it's a secret recipe, so I don't know much.
Yeah,
but,
exactly. I was thinking that.
He explained me that basically he took the original recipe and twisted
And he tweaked
his
it.
way. Yeah, very much.
So that's why you use the term evolution as opposed to revolution.
Yeah, I think also is it's not the only way of preserving the heritage of a product, because I'm sure you know, him together with the main vermouth producer in the region of Piemonte, they set up the Vermouth di Torino. Vermouth di Torino is a sort of a revolution because it's something new that wasn't there before, but it's simply the evolution of preserving a product that's been around for 200 years.
Yeah. So when you say the evolution of preserving it, them coming up with Vermouth di Torino and creating it's not an appellation. What is it?
No, it's a indicazione geografica.
Okay.
Geographical indication. Protected geographical.
Traditionally, the old masters would have been doing things the same way because that's the way they did it. But in today's world, to preserve it, you need to kind of
you put
set it in stone and protect it.
Because otherwise we can do the Giorgio and Dean vermouth without
someone else could do it. Wouldn't even be you and me, right? Yeah. They'd get AI to be Giorgio.
And I think it's fair. The new product will always come out. It must be, otherwise we will be stuck on everything. But certain things with strong heritage, they need to be preserved.
Yeah,
they need to be respected. And putting rules like the ABV, so between 16 and 22%, the actual geographical, let's say, the wine they use for Vermouth di Torino must be Italian wine, as well as the Artemisia must be from Piedmont. All these things, they just set some vermouths apart from every other vermouth they will.
Yeah, I think I used this analogy yesterday with Leonardo, that when you get champagne, you know you're getting champagne.
Yeah.
You know, you're not getting sparkling something else. There's a kind of boundary there. Would you say that by getting involved in Vermouth Torino, buying into Vermouth Torino, Cinzano 1757, there's a flavor profile that you're guaranteed to get? It's like within a kind of spectrum?
It's not necessarily a flavor profile because all vermouth are different, but there are, some ingredients that must be there. And those ingredients, they give you at least an assurance of quality, of a certain quality that you will get. Of course, vermouth should taste bitter by definition. Then if you have sweet vermouth, of course, sweet and dry, it's very obvious. But, using mint from Piedmont, you get a certain high standard mint in your vermouth. So your vermouth, eventually will taste good in that sense.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I'm just very conscious. I've got a little box here that lets me see the comments, it's not updating. So I'm going to keep checking my phone here. But if anyone is watching and they're interested in asking questions, go ahead. Ask the questions and they'll be passed on to me. So just wanted to do some what's it called? Housekeeping?
Bravo.
Yeah. So we talked about what started, I guess, the 1757 brand. It's that, like you said, constantly evolving, constantly moving so that you can stay relevant. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very much.
But when it comes to, and we talked about flavor really quickly, when it comes to the vermouth, like what is the biggest difference between the two representations? Because you've got two now.
Yeah, but so I will start saying that before going into the different expression, vermouth itself is something that gives us a lot of room for creativity, because it can be used in many ways. It can be used as a modifier, it can be used as a main ingredient, it can be used also somehow as a extra layer of flavor that you miss in certain style of cocktail. But yeah, if we go into the two expression. We have extra dry and roast.
Yeah.
I use a lot of vermouth. That's why for
Yeah,
me it's very
I
natural
figure
to
you
be
would.
here. I use vermouth in so many different style of cocktail. As you said, at the Conno Bar we do 20,000 martini cocktail a year, so we go through a fair amount of extra dry vermouth.
That is so many.
Yeah, it's many, especially when you need to do, at the trolley and you present,
Yeah.
and, you entertain, as we said. So we should start from extra dry vermouth. So the extra dry vermouth 1757, it is a wine, as we know, and the wine element, it's very important when you create a cocktail such as a martini cocktail, because you need to, hold on against a lot of gin,
Exactly.
a lot of vodka, depends, a lot of tequila.
Is that why the extra dry has a slightly higher ABV?
I believe so. It's another one of Bruno's secret, but I assume that
he kept that to himself.
He's not a greedy man. It's just
yeah.
He loves his privacy and Campari his privacy. But what I love about the extra dry, he has body, he has personality, given most likely again from the ABV, as well as there are layers of like citruses and flowers and herbs. They really stand out when you create a cocktail like a martini cocktail. For me, it should be used in many other different ways.
Yeah, I've used dry vermouth in loads of different styles of drinks. Everything, I think I mentioned it yesterday. One of my favorite drinks to play with is to take tiki drinks like Missionary's Downfall.
No, it's one of my favorite cocktails.
And it's got like coconut and peach and everything in it. But when you make a Missionary's Downfall and you substitute some of the rum or most of the rum for dry vermouth, it tastes amazing. And the mint really sings. Everything, like, that's one of my favorites. And another is, the Clover Club.
I do know Julie Renner, as you do, so I do know the Clover Club.
But like...
Ciao, Julie, by the way.
Traditionally, you'd only have a tiny bit of vermouth in it, right? You can do a reversed one, it sings. And I think when I first started using vermouth, everything was stirred and it was martinis. The vermouth was the wave a little bit in the air in the direction of France kind of story, and everyone wanted drier. But as people have understood vermouth better, keeping it in the fridge. Yeah. Knowing it's a wine. You don't open a white wine and then leave it on a warm shelf for 2 weeks and expect it to taste just as good. Exactly, in the sun. So the better understanding has pushed me, certainly. I like a wet martini.
I do like a 50-50.
You like a 50-50?
50 Giorgio, 50 Dean.
I got a question for you. So you're very famous for the really high long pour, right?
Yes.
And you guys are like putting tinctures and twists.
Yeah.
So in the extra dry, what would you recommend as is it a lemon? Is it obviously lime would be different as a twist, doing tinctures? What do you use?
Going back on preserving heritage, I think a lemon twist for an extra dry, vermouth, extra dry martini cocktail, it's the way. Very simply, even if you want to make a home martini and you don't have such a selection. We're very fortunate to work with a gentleman that produces essential oil back in my region in Tuscany, and he does with all like Mediterranean herbs, which are very much part of the extra dry recipes.
Yeah, nice.
So sage rather than mint essential oil, or dittany, majoram, they work very well.
And you're putting them into a tincture and using them as
we use a spray, essential oil in spray, with alcohol spray, and it's very volatile. It doesn't even impact as much the drink.
Yeah, nice.
But talking about high pour and extra vermouth, why not we have a little taste?
Yes, and I
almost scared
I
you.
happen to have prepared some glassware within arm's reach.
Whoa.
It's like we planned it. Now, there are some questions popping up. Can't quite read them. People saying hi.
Hello everyone, how are you today? Okay.
Right, so we're going to get to taste it. A nice, constructive tasting.
So, Mr. Callan, first of all, I would say
Cheers. Thank you
Salute.
for coming.
thank you for having me.
Ooh.
Clear, almost crystal clear, very gentle, yellowish color.
And it's not too like sticky. It doesn't look as
No.
thick as some vermouths.
As we know,
So it's
level
not too much sugar,
very
right?
low. Yeah, very, very low. The nose is important. It's bold. You get the floral note as well.
I
As much as it's made in Piedmont, it could be a walk in the Amalfi Coast.
I'm getting a really nice balance of fruitiness and like a savory note at the same time. There's something I can smell, but I can't. My brain will not connect to what the name of it is.
I think, the herb, Mediterranean herb element, it's very much there.
I'm
Well,
getting sage now.
Dittany probably is one of the strongest that you get. Dittany, it reminds a lot of oregano, so you have this
Okay.
freshly baked pizza flavor, as well as the rosebud, so the floral notes work very well with it. And again, if we go back 1 second on cocktail making, imagine making a fruity-led cocktail with not much complexity. You add a bit of it as Clover Club, as you said, but many others don't special daiquiri or even if you think like a daiquiri itself, you add a little vermouth, you get this extra complexity that probably
Extra
white
levels to
rum, can't bring. What else? The bitterness as a aftertaste.
It's a little bitter, but it's really smooth. Like it's not as bitter as
I think it's a very good introduction if you think, no?
yeah. It's funny because yesterday, Leonardo was like just treated like a wine. We were drinking it out of a wine glass, and you forget just on its own as the main character how good vermouth is to just sit.
We forget a lot because we also use as a secondary, third ingredient. Or but it's not as a hero as it should be. He was born as a hero, He was the liquid of the Italian kings.
Yeah, and Leo was saying yesterday, the aperitivo hour was originally the vermouth hour. People would meet up for vermouth. Okay. So can we taste the...
Shall we move on to the rosso?
Do you call it rosso or do you call it sweet?
No, rosso.
Rosso, okay.
Rosso.
So it's not sweet and dry. It's
No,
rosso.
it's extra dry and rosso.
Extra dry and rosso, okay.
Vermouth di Torino.
Want to make sure I'm getting that right. Okay.
Can we make the jump? Whoa. No, okay. now you get it, huh?
Okay. Whoop.
Oh. Okay.
We got excited. Last time we were hanging out, we were in Berlin. We were hanging out with Christian Delpesch, and we both got very excited. Obviously, didn't do any practicing throwing things.
Obviously not.
That was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, very
Christian.
much. Very much. So you have 2 kids, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
And nobody has a favorite kid, but I must say that I love 1757 Rosso.
Yeah. I think it's all right when it comes to flavors.
No, very much.
Yeah, cheers.
Salute. Grazie.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I'm a person that likes like brown and down drinks. I drink Manhattans and I drink Boulevardiers and I drink kind of like old fashions and things like that, or Torontos. Do you like Torontos?
Yeah.
Like things like that where it's like, I don't know whether it's just for 20 plus years of being in the bartending industry and having a little bit of palate fatigue.
You started when you were 8?
No. Oh, look at him. He gave you a compliment and everything. No, I started a long time ago. Like just before the Y2K,
Okay.
If you know what I'm talking about. You do. Y2K is in the year, for everyone watching at home, in the year 2000, Y2K was when the clocks were going to tick over to 2000, but no one had programmed clocks for more than just 0
like
to
millennium
99.
bugs,
The
sort
millennium, yeah, the millennium bug. Y2K, it was referred to by people that are old.
of, you know.
I'm
you
showing
know.
my age.
But
Yeah.
you know, as this vermouth, you know, the original recipe was created over 150 plus years ago, and doesn't feel old. No,
This doesn't. This feels fresh.
like the nose give you the wine again, but there is this complexity that argue. You know, you already smell bitterness
Yeah.
as well as this rich fruitiness, spicy rich fruitiness.
I get like a Christmas cake kind of deep fruitiness, like where the fruitiness has kind of come together to become one flavor, as opposed to just picking out. You can kind of get a almost like a marmalade orange sort of smell.
But it's all a symphony. It's not,
Yeah.
you know, they're not pieces of a puzzle. They're like you get everything at once that keeps playing.
Yeah, I can't get the idea of like the Christmas cake out of my mind now. I'm gonna have to get a bottle
like-
of this for Christmas.
Like the fig,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, but the probably fig chutney, you know, like something there's
There's
even
there's
more
a
texture and
how would you describe it? Like a stewed fruit, baked fruit,
sort
where
of, yeah,
you can't
something.
quite say which fruit it is, but you're getting all of them. I don't want to say sultana because it's too
But
fresh for that.
raisin will be
Raisin,
something,
yeah, raisin.
something on that line.
Is sultana actually a fruit, or is that a brand?
Sultana is a kind of.
Is it a
grape.
kind of raisin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I thought I was losing my mind there.
And so I said that a million times since I'm the 1757 advocate, but the bitterness of this Vermouth Rosso, it's second to none, you know?
I don't feel like it's an aggressive bitterness.
But it's there.
I
You
think
get it.
yeah,
know?
I think the original like Cinzano, like the older Cinzano, has a slightly more of a bitter taste, right?
Yeah.
But it was famous for that. It was a very bold vermouth.
Indeed, but what we really appreciate about this is how within this richness, the fruitiness, the spiciness, you get this bitterness that give a lot of length. to the
Yeah.
liquid. You know, you still have it.
Yeah, it's not a spike of bitter.
Exactly.
It's like a
It
growing.
stays.
Yeah, nice.
It
That's a good way to
stays.
describe it.
And when you then, for example, because this vermouth was taught with the Negroni in mind, you know, when you put this side by side with Campari,
Yeah.
it's there.
It's the it's the guy making Campari currently.
They go
So it almost like
hand in
feels like
hand.
it's the right
Exactly.
vermouth for that. And do you make Milano Torinos?
I do.
Yeah. So you would use this for your Milano Torino, right?
I would use this for every
Yeah.
vermouth cocktail I make,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. But for me, the Milano Torino is something that literally has those two ingredients. Makes so much sense because it's just that perfect balance.
But this character, this personality, allow you to use it as a main ingredient. Almost like if you do a spirit and mixer, this is your spirit, you know? If you do a sparkling cocktail as a base, you can use this.
So when you say sparkling cocktail, do you mean like with other wines, like other sparkling wines, or do you mean
For
like
instance,
sodas?
or sodas, or,
Yeah.
you know?
Okay.
And I mean, on this note, we can certainly move on to the versatility, you know, of this liquid, because this liquid, as we anticipated, is very much seen as the number 2 or the number 3 when you create a drink, no?
Yeah.
But try to make a Manhattan and don't use vermouth.
Yeah.
Tell me
Exactly.
how it tastes. Maybe you like bourbon with bitters, yeah, who knows, but or maybe you like gin and Campari when you make a Negroni without vermouth. But I think the role that this liquid plays is crucial in many classic cocktails.
Yeah, it changed the game. When vermouth came around, you can see from the old cocktail books, I think we were mentioning it yesterday, it completely shifted everything. You know, because a cocktail was a cocktail,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what, from 1806 right through to 1880s? And when vermouth hit, suddenly it took over. And
Exactly.
you can't make a Manhattan without.
No, you can't. You
Yeah,
know, like
you need it. It's a main ingredient. Very cool.
because also like okay, when you do twist, you know, you change the spirit, but you keep the vermouth.
Yeah,
You know, you
exactly.
do tequila Manhattan.
Or you do a reverse.
yeah, you do reverse.
You
You know,
flip them.
like and also we always stick, and I always do a lot of aperitivo style cocktail, but this very much works into cocktail that you probably never associate with, like tiki, as you said, Mission Downfall, or you know, even try to put some in a zombie. No, why not? Or
Yeah, you could get away with it in a zombie. One of
yeah,
the things I think people forget that it mixes well with is strawberries,
very much,
right? So,
very
like,
much.
I used to make so many blended strawberry daiquiris. Like, I'm old. Everybody was ordering strawberry daiquiris, but strawberry daiquiris and caipirinhas, caipiroscas, caipirinhas were super popular back in the day. But it actually works really well with lime and fruits. So you can get away with muddling it. If anyone remembers how to muddle,
But you know, as good as it could be, a strawberry blended strawberry daiquiri, what would be the main taste? Strawberry.
strawberry. You get a
You
little rum,
Yeah,
but strawberry.
but you add a bit of this, and you have, you know, spiciness,
Yeah.
bitterness.
It's gonna explode.
Strawberries, they will still be there. They will be enhanced. And so, you know, that's why vermouth could be your best friend when you're a young bartender,
Yeah.
exciting to create. Even when you are a less younger bartender and you don't want obvious and like boring flavors in your cocktail.
I'm seeing things pop up in the chat. I'm just gonna check. Okay, now we've got questions coming in. So, do people at the corner ever ask which vermouth they want in their cocktails, or do they choose the gin or vodka?
They mainly choose the gin and vodka. I decided vermouth.
So you don't get a lot of like people coming in and brand calling vermouths.
I mean, it is uncommon because I feel that vermouth is a category that still need to be explored a lot.
Yeah.
Like if you think gin, everybody is a gin expert, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Even
got
your uncle that you haven't seen in 10 years, the first thing that you see, have you tried this very funky
Yeah,
gin
yeah.
where they use like cotton lavender and pomelo and whatever, but nobody will come to you and say, have you tried this new vermouth? Have you seen this new vermouth? But I recently saw a video of a friend of mine, bartender back in Italy, Julian. He was saying, you know, like the fake connoisseur will ask which gin do you stock. The real connoisseur will ask which vermouth do you stock for his Manhattan.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
That's if I'm going to order a Manhattan or a martini. I mean, it could be because I've been around for a while, but if I see the vermouth is open, halfway empty, and on the warm back bar,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna ask them about it.
Yeah,
I want to make sure that they not only have good vermouth, but they're protecting it and taking care of it properly. They're using it right.
I think, you know, again, everybody can see the big picture. Not everybody can see details.
Yeah.
We ask which vermouth you're using, so see the details. Because
Yeah.
the details are part of the big picture, which like the cocktail that you have, or you know, the main spirit. But as we said, the role of vermouth sometimes is more little in quantity, but is crucial anyway for the final result. So it's important to have the right one and the right combination with the other ingredients.
Yeah, I think it makes a bigger impact when you switch vermouths than it does sometimes if you switch gins
Yeah.
and whiskies, you know,
Very much.
in those traditional cocktails. I certainly noticed the way, obviously, I'm at home most of the time, you know, I'm not constantly working in a bar anymore. So I find that I'm getting a bottle of vermouth, and then I'll stay with that vermouth throughout. Like myself and my wife will have Negronis on that vermouth. We'll have Boulevardiers on that vermouth. I drink a lot of vermouth and tonic, which I don't know if that's
No, it's good.
if it's a bad thing. I would love maybe off camera another time to show you Electra's favorite vermouth drink. It's like a bitter soda and tonic in equal parts.
Oh, nice.
With a healthy measure of vermouth, a slice of orange, and then a dark, black sour cherry.
Class.
It's delicious. It's really good. I call it the Electra.
The Electra.
Yeah.
Electra is Dean White.
That's my
for
wife.
the one
Sorry,
who don't know.
we're getting too familiar.
Yeah. But anyway, we see that the style of cocktail that you can create out of these liquids, endless. You can't really do a ram martini cocktail. You can't really do. All good.
Oh no, I'm just making sure I got the questions.
Okay.
Because they're very tiny on that screen, but here I've got them updated. Do you mind?
Go for it.
So we've got a question. What grape variety is used for Rosso Vermouth di Torino? That's going to be a secret,
because
right?
people believe that Rosso and extra dry use different wine. The wine is the same.
Okay.
It's how it's treated, like sugar, caramel, which herbs you use, but it's generally, I don't want to say every time, but generally Italian vermouth is Trebbiano.
Okay.
Which is quite plain as a wine. It's not. It doesn't have a lot of flavor. Doesn't carry, because the work is done after by Bruno.
We got
and all these colleagues.
Another question. Yeah. Bruno's secret recipes. We got another question. You said before that you like vermouth in tiki cocktails.
Yeah.
Would you shake the ingredients or just stir them? This is an interesting one because I know.
I'll shake it. I mean,
you shake it?
I know everybody say, no, vermouth, don't shake vermouth. Sorry. If a drink asks, like, I don't want to do a stir Mai Tai just because I add vermouth,
Yeah. You're right.
I'm going to add the complexity of the vermouth. If you look at body, you're talking about cocktail, there is orgeat, there is an orange liqueur. So,
it's
you
already
have enough
intense.
sugar. You don't need the body of it. You need more. With bringing in vermouth, you bring in complexity that the liquid brings.
And aeration works with vermouth. It's almost like it feels like a little old wives' tale of the bruised gin kind of era. Because if you think about the Boadas cocktail, like
they're all thrown. Yeah.
And the vermouth cocktail is delicious if it's thrown.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't personally. I'm not 2023's international bartender of the year, but me personally, I wouldn't be afraid to shake vermouth, and I wouldn't be afraid to throw it, give it a little aeration. It's about knowing when to stop. If you're going to overshake it and over dilute it, you're not going to do it justice. I think
everything over diluted is wrong.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I never read about cocktail. No, please do shake it a lot. No.
Well, it's easy for you to say, yeah, I would throw it, I would shake it, I would blend it, because you know exactly how to throw it, how to shake it, how to blend it. You've got it figured out. But yeah, these are good questions, actually. I quite like that. Especially the shaken one. That was a really good question, because it opens up that conversation about aeration, which it doesn't suffer from.
No,
not at all.
No.
So if you were to say, what occasions, you drink vermouth the most? What comes to mind? Because for me,
there's no occasion. I can say there's no occasion, because vermouth embrace your lifestyle. You don't probably add it to your latte in the morning, but I think as soon as you have a social occasion, vermouth speak for yourself. Vermouth make you an interesting person. Because, again, everybody these days talk about gin, or maybe vodka. I think vodka as a comeback. And, I have this gin, I have this vodka. But, then there's no... there's no extra layers that you can have. Like vermouth, when you ask for vermouth in a room, everybody will look at you. who is this guy?
This guy's into
He's
vermouth.
asking for vermouth. What's his favorite vermouth?
He's being particular
Yeah,
about
yeah.
vermouth.
And so you create curiosity, and necessarily you become straight away very interesting. No?
Yeah.
Why do you drink vermouth? What's the big deal around it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just, it's been around for a few years, and people has been drinking it in many of the most popular cocktails these days, but not really. And so it is a lifestyle. Like going back on Cinzano rather than just 757. I've been in Argentina 3 weeks ago. They live and breathe this Cinzano lifestyle vermouth, because you see today the bar I've been of some friends of mine just opened 3 years ago, 4 years ago, or Floreria of Altato 10 years ago. No, they do use vermouth heavily. They use Cinzano and other brands heavily. But then I went to see Boca Juniors, into the Bombonera, big stadium, one of the most, iconic place in the world. And there are like 3 bars open for over 100 years each, 100-year
in a stadium
around the stadium.
Okay.
Which are the places of the supporter. Before the match, they go there to have Cinzano on the rocks.
No.
And there are all the.
Did you? And you went there and seen this?
Yeah.
God, that
and
must have been so
choripan.
exciting.
Choripan is chorizo on bread, and you have these. It's really part of the culture. It's a lifestyle.
So the culture there before they go to a giant football match is to eat chorizo on bread and drink Cinzano.
Yeah, they might drink beer too. Don't get me wrong. But,
amazing.
You see, really, it's part of old, new, contemporary, less contemporary place. They are all, into vermouth.
Wow.
And it's part of them, no? So in Italy, we have a bit more probably hidden within our aperitivo culture, because this lifestyle, like if you say, I'm going for, I don't know, a glass of champagne, there is a glamorous sort of pretentious night.
People think that if you're going to have a glass of champagne, you have to dress a certain way and it has to be a certain occasion.
Exactly. While if you go for a vermouth cocktail, so therefore, for instance, aperitivo, it's a cool. It's like, I'm going for aperitivo. I finish work. I'm a smart casual because probably I just remove my tie or drop my bag and I go for aperitivo. And it's part of you. You don't need to fake it because there is the glamorous night. But still, you're very much aspirational to that social environment, social situation. And that could be done in so many different places, different parts around the world.
I think I've never got FOMO as much about drinking vermouth and having like chorizo on bread as I just did with you explaining the football. I'm not the biggest football fan. The closest I've ever been to a football match, I think, with football fans was actually a bus tour that I did for a wedding in Mexico.
That was intense.
That was about the closest I got to hanging out with a football
team. If you think
crew.
like if I'm start talking about tiki cocktails, would you imagine yourself on the mountain skiing?
No.
As well,
it's a funny one.
Drinking eggnogs.
Yeah,
in a tropical island.
Yeah.
No, but vermouth cocktail.
It can be anywhere.
They fit everywhere.
Yeah, and like skiing, you've got vermouth, you've got amaros, you've got all the different cocktail culture involved. The beach, obviously, that's where I've drank probably the most outside of a cocktail bar, the most vermouth outside of cocktail bars.
Yeah, if you think Spain, there they have again a very strong
huge vermouth culture,
and they drink it. It's very hot, like Andalusia, all the the center of Spain, and they drink vermouth constantly.
Well, one of my favorite vermouth, I guess, places to drink vermouth. It's closed now, but was do you remember Bodega 1900 in Barcelona?
Barcelona.
It was opened by the guys from who started El Bulli.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an amazing restaurant with some of the best culinary geniuses of our lifetimes.
Adria's brother, sorry.
And they were just doing vermouth and really good
And tapas,
food.
good food.
It was amazing.
Because also, vermouth is so complex itself. It doesn't require other complexity on its side. You know, you go for something easy, tasty, straightforward, like Italian food, you know, with not much complexity. The vermouth will add this extra complexity to your dining experience, you know, without being, it's complex by itself, but it's not complex to understand.
Yeah.
You know, especially I think now that this Amaro bitter culture is growing, I guess the vermouth, both of the expression are the best introduction to bitterness.
Yeah.
From there, then you can move on to something more bitter.
Yeah, nice.
If you're not
already into
because
bitter.
like being Italian, it's kind of obvious for me. Europe in general, they all have a Amaro bitter representation. Here in the UK has arrived many years ago, but there are countries in the world that probably they're discovering now what is this sort of taste. So if you're listening from a country where bitterness is not there yet, these are some of the best approaches.
Very cool. I've got a couple of comments saying I love 1757 and tonic. Right, see?
Yeah.
We're not on our own. That's good.
Lately I like 757 and grapefruit soda.
And grapefruit soda.
Like Italian Paloma.
Okay. I love that you glanced off screen as if are we going to get in trouble for saying that?
Yeah, I always get in trouble, but then I get away.
I think you like that. You like to court a little bit of danger. Anyway,
I'm a brave man.
This has been an amazing conversation. I think we're getting close to the end of the time.
No, don't leave me this way.
We've got more sessions, though. We've got... wait, I wrote it down just so I can make sure I get the dates exactly right. You know, we have a couple more sessions on the 8th and 9th of April, and then, we've got more later on in May. So those links will hopefully come up relatively soon. So if you're tuned in now, stay tuned to the Campari Academy and look out for more sessions from the Vermouth Society as we delve deeper into the world of vermouth and its lifestyle. Is there anything else you want to say before we sign out?
Thank you for having me on the Dean Callan show.
Thank you for coming. It was
bartender.
I don't know if you noticed, but I've always been a big fan. So it's a big pleasure for me to have you hanging out here in the same space. And until next time, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for your questions.
Drink more vermouth responsibly.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Ciao.
Ciao.